What happened to me? Why am I in the Philippines? This is the part that many people don't realize about older um, Americans who are at the retirement age. Pretty much the small Social Security checks don't cut it. They don't. You're not enough to survive. I was living in the ghetto because that's all I could afford. I was paying $600 a month. I had to pay an electric bill, car insurance, which was crazy amount, car payment, food, um, internet, everything just added up. It come to the point that was higher than what my Social Security would be. And then where's the money coming from to buy food? There is none. There's nothing left. And because I was living in such a junky area, I lived in Homeland Park. Sorry about the noise. I lived in Homeland Park in Anderson, South Carolina, before I came to the Philippines. I was the only person in the whole neighborhood who had a job that was going to work. I would go to work, and then in the year and a half time, my place was robbed 8 times. They knocked down the. I was renting for 600 a month. They knocked down the doors, broke the windows. They stole everything I had, every single thing. It got to the point where there was nothing left. They would come in and steal my cigarettes off the counter or peanut butter off the table. And they were all drug addicts, all meth heads. And you put a report, the police didn't do anything. I got tired of it. I couldn't stand it anymore. I was eating Roman noodles to try to survive, and I got tired. So I did my research, and I found out that rent in the Philippines, you could find a cheap place to live. And that's what I did. Where I was working, I had a 401k, which was enough to get me over to the Philippines. That's why I came here. I was in the combat zone in 2 wars for 8 years as a private contractor working for the U.S. military, but I worked for KBR Halliburton and for Daniels. So I was able to qualify for VA health insurance, medical health insurance. But the problem with that, you could get your medications and stuff. But if you had to seriously doctor appointment, to get a doctor appointment, it would take you 6 months. And you would have to go to Columbia, South Carolina, to the major VA clinic. So it was like pretty much useless, the VA health insurance. It was okay for your medications, but that was about it. And that's the sad truth. So when you get to the retirement age, if you were not successful, and I guess I was not, and you didn't have wise investments in a big bank account, you're going to suffer. Some people were able to get housing. I was not one of those people. And how the people in America can survive, it's rough. Most of them are surviving on Roman noodles and living in extreme poverty if they only have Social Security like I did. To live in a non-drug infested area for 600 a month, you're looking at over 1,000 a month for rent. And I didn't have that kind of money to put down for rent to live in a good area in America. So my choices were what? Slim. So I did the best I could. And the best I could meant coming to the Philippines. Philippines has a bunch of good people. Uh, Living is for that kind of money for less than 100 a month rent. Of course, you're not going to get the amenities you would have in the U.S. You're not going to have hot water. You're not going to have a lot of times. You're not going to have good running water. You're going to have power outages all the time, poor internet most of the time, because you're going to be living in the province. You live in the city in the Philippines, you're looking at 400 or 500 a month. You live on the outskirts, you could probably find something for 150 or 200 US a month. But I like the not so many people. So province life's better for me. It just people don't realize how many people in the U.S. are suffering. Philippines also, a lot of people are suffering. Uh, but you got to remember the cost of living in the Philippines is so much cheaper. Food, of course, is high, probably higher than the U.S., but the essentials like rent is cheap. Some people live in shacks, so they don't even have to pay rent. Uh, the important part in your life is you have to have a roof over your head. You don't want to be living in the rain. I was living in the Philippines way back in, what was that, 2013? I was in Caloocan in a squatter area where we had floods and we had rats crawling through swimming through your house. My house where I was living with somebody. It was a shack that built out of cardboard, plywood, holes in the roof. And when the floods would come, it'd be 2 or 3 feet deep, and you'd have rats swimming through there. But for the most part, you had a roof over your head. Wasn't the best conditions, but you survived. A lot of people in the Philippines have to live like that too, and that's hard, man. And all the bad weather in the Philippines, typhoons, floods, landslides. People got it rough, a lot rougher than they do in the U.S. But if you need to survive, man, you do. And the Social Security that the people get in the Philippines is tiny, a lot less than the U.S. So everybody wants to survive, and I'm no different. And there's millions and millions of people in the U.S. that are living below, way below the poverty level on Social Security, and they don't own their own place. Uh, I don't know how they get by because I was not getting by. I was suffering. Do I love America? Of course I do. That was the country I was born, and I love it. But I could not afford living in a meth-infected neighborhood, and I got tired of living like that. If I had the money and I could live in a decent neighborhood where I didn't have to pull a handgun out of my concealed carry and clear every room in the house because I was wondering if somebody was going to be in there with a gun or a knife waiting for me to come home, it would have been easier living. No, I'm not doing a live. I'm on a video. I'm making a video. No, wait. I'm almost finished. Okay? Just wait a few minutes, then you turn the stereo on. Anyway, I'm getting ready to wrap this up. I'm just trying to let everybody know what's going on. Everybody thinks America is great. Well, it is if you have money. But there's so many people in America that are suffering and are homeless. I was lucky. I had a 401k, which was enough to get me to the Philippines and buy some of the stuff I needed to set up. And I came to the Philippines at 51, so I just had to wait until 42 to get my pension. Some people don't have that 401k to get them over to the Philippines or to another country. And what do? They suffer. So just remember that Philippines is not the only place that suffers. There's a lot of people in America who suffer. And because of the high price of rents, some people are forced to live in their car or live in the woods. And I have pity for those people because once I was like that. I was in the squatter area in Caloocan in the Philippines. So I can relate. This explains a little bit, I guess. Now you know. Everyone, take care and have a great day. Goodbye.